Gotham, a crazy podcast about DC, with your hosts E-Rock and PD. When we speak up, get your geeks up, cause you know you about to get geeked up. So sit back, relax, and get comfy. Lose your mind like Solomon Grundy, and listen to a show that won't be forgotten, coming straight out of Gotham.
Apocalypse. Welcome to another episode of Straight Outta Straight Outta Gotham, episode 74. We are a fandom pop culture podcast and proud members of the Batman Podcast Network, hosted by Batman on Film. Make sure you check out all the other great shows on the network by heading on over to BOF and clicking that drop down for podcasts. Raimi Review, Batman Book Club, ELTD, Comics on Consoles, and this show, Straight Outta Gotham, all members of the Batman Podcast Network, and so many more that I did not list. So make sure you check all those out. Great people doing great things. Just wonderful, wonderful content. I am your co-host from the other side of the Hudson River, senior contributor to Batman on Film. I am Peter R. Rivera, and today we're recording on April 23rd, 2022. And as always, I have a great show for you today. But before we get into the good stuff, I'd like to remind you, all of our faithful listeners, if you take the time to rate and review our show on Apple Podcasts, and we read your review on air, you have just won the Straight Outta Gotham prize pack. The contest is ongoing for this month, so make sure you get those reviews in. Got a little bit of a tongue twister today, like Rotten Tomatoes. So you got to be in it to win it. Now, let me introduce you to my partner in crime, the only man allowed to pump your gas in Huntington, New York, a fellow Batman on Film contributor, ladies and gentlemen, Eric Holzman.
All right, guys, I have like 5 minutes because I got to go pump someone else's gas in Huntington, and that's a little far for me. So this might be a very quick show. Who knows?
Well, you run like the Flash, so
that is true. That is true. I can. One of my feats, of course, was the race. A couple of races I've won. So,
and the fact that you live on an island, you can probably find a body of water, which means you could swim there faster. I mean, you're like Aqua Flash. You know,
Aqua Flash.
Aqua Flash.
All right. I guess I could co-sign that one.
Yeah.
I did return my Twitter handle back to Aquaman, as everyone's seen. So,
and at this rate, you might be the Flash in the sequel.
Well, we will get to that. We will get to that in a little while. But just real quick, how are you? What's going on?
I'm good. I have my first full weekend off in like a month, and I'm really excited about it. I'm going to spend it reading comic books and watching the Yankees. That's my entire weekend. Nope, don't bother me.
Right, so you're not so there's no, you're not gonna go to the movies, go out, do anything.
I don't want to do anything. I literally want to have like a lazy weekend. I might go see the Batman at some point. I want to go do that again. I believe it's still in theaters.
It is.
I've been falling asleep to it every night after work. I get to like the first hour and then I just kind of fall completely asleep, but it's been wonderful to pass out to. So
I have not watched it on HBO Max yet. I don't know why. I think I'm just taking a little bit of a break from it for now because I've said this to people. I don't know if I've said it to you, but the more I watch something, then I'll start noticing the things in it that bother me. So I want to just kind of pull back for a bit. And then just let it ride for a while. Then I'll go back and start watching it again. But I did go last night to see The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, which is, of course, the Nic Cage movie about himself. And I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it. I did like how the trailers look, so that's what pulled me in. And I will say it's a pretty good movie.
Okay. It's funny. As someone who doesn't like Nic Cage as an actor, I do want to check this movie out.
Yeah, I mean, he's like, obviously it's self-deprecating because that's kind of the point of the film. We all know about how he's taken every role he's kind of been offered because of his money issues. And that's something that's reflected on in the film. It's part of it. And Pedro Pascal and plays just really, really good off of him. And if you know, we're going to talk about this a little while. If you know the history of their relationship, it's very, very obvious, even in a film where he's acting, that he has has an affinity for this guy. So, guys, definitely go check it out if you get a chance. It's a very, very good film.
That would be me if I ever had a chance to work with Ray Porter. I would just
himself.
Yeah, I would be in awe of his just Uxisian glory.
Here you hear, guys. Pete is now creating a kind of a language around Uxus and categories. So we have Uxisian as one of the categories now. I can't wait to see that one pop out in some conversation you're having on Twitter, because I know that's going to happen sooner or later.
I can't help it is probably the most fun word I've ever encountered in the English language. It's just Uxus.
Hey, if Destiny's Child could get bootylicious into the dictionary, you could get Uxisian into the dictionary.
I'm sure I could. I'm pretty sure that Cardi B got WAP into the dictionary too.
Did she? No.
I don't know. Probably.
Oh, I thought that was bad. You might have been breaking some news here, because I hadn't even heard about that. I mean, it's an acronym for, well, we know what it's an acronym for. But who knows? Who knows what? Hey, I don't know. I remember when I heard that Destiny's Child got bootylicious into the dictionary, I couldn't believe it was true, and I had to go look it up myself. And of course, it is there.
Like, what is that? Like the 7 millionth printing of Webster's dictionary?
The unabridged. I used to always like what is where's the abridged version, and what is the abridged version? I don't know. See, there's the tangent we're going on, but yes, the Webster, it is in Webster. So Uxisian is next. We're gonna have to petition. We're gonna start a hashtag campaign, because those always work. Right?
Can we go to change.org? Can I online petition there?
Uxisian? Yeah, maybe we should. We should do that for the fans. We'll create a make Uxisian an English word in the dictionary.
I'm all for it.
We'll get it. We'll start a campaign. Like I said, hashtags. Oh, they seem to work. So we'll go there. So, all right. So, of course, guys, we have a ton of news for you this week, as we always do. We try and keep you up to date on what's going on in fandom and video games and all the stuff we like to talk about here and discuss amongst ourselves, and then with you guys on our socials. So we're going to start with a story that just seems to keep giving. Every week we get a new look at the police blotter from Hawaii, and Ezra Miller's name always seems to be on it. So he was arrested yet again in Hawaii. He was at a private residence. They asked him to leave because he was getting crazy. He became irate and threw a chair and hit a 26-year-old female in the forehead, resulting in a half-inch cut. Now, I don't know what else to say about this guy that we haven't said already. It's kind of right now more than ever, and if it wasn't before, okay, now this is even bigger than film. Like, just get this guy the help he needs. His enablers need to bring him in, bring him back, and just explain to him, not for his career, just for his life. Whatever's going on with him, he needs help. And I don't know what else to say about it. It's just sad that every week we read something about this. And of course, we're always concerned because he is the Flash, and it's a movie we're highly anticipating. But I mean, he's a human first, and I think I just want this kid to get the help that I screw that up all the time, so I apologize, that they need.
Yeah, Ezra has to realize that he needs help, and then when he does, I'm sure things will get better, because if he is in denial and thinks he doesn't need help, then this isn't going to work. But clearly his actions speak very loudly. I don't really necessarily think it's up to Warner Brothers to get this kid help. I think it's up to him. I think it's up to, you say, his enablers, his crew, his squad, his posse, his pack, his clique, whatever you want to call them. The Ezra Miller contingent needs to figure out what's up with this dude, because he just can't do this, because he's not going to be able to work at McDonald's, much less be an actor, if he keeps assaulting people and, breaking into their hotel rooms. So this dude needs to figure things out. For his own sake. But, if you ask me, he's on the fast track to being recast as fast as he got this role. Again, to no one's fault but his own. But it's just, yeah, every week something out of Hawaii. It makes me wonder what's in the water down over there on that
And why
island.
is he staying there? Like,
I mean, he's probably got a lot of money. He just got
bad
paid.
karma.
I guess maybe he's on vacation. I don't know.
I know.
But if I'm on vacation in Hawaii and I see Ezra, I'm hopping on the plane first one out. So I'm not taking any chances. That's
Yeah,
it.
I mean, I like clearly. I don't know if it's substance abuse related or if he just has some kind of mental issue. I don't know. At any time we hear these kinds of stories with actors, we always assume, at least I do, that it's substance abuse related because they have access to everything that they want. So it's very easy for someone like that to get hold of drugs and take, and then, his reaction, because I can't imagine he's like this all the time.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know him personally. I don't know if
Right.
he has an anger problem or what, but
Right.
you just
So
can't
I
be
don't
doing
know.
this.
Yes, but it's just like you said, it's every week. If it's happening every week now, I mean, we were used to like every year or 6 months, but if it's I hate to laugh, but if it's happening every week now, it's clearly escalating. Like, it's not getting better.
Well, I won't say every week. It's been back-to-back weeks, so he's on a 2-week run. So if it happens for a third week, then I think it's like, oh wow, this is becoming a bad trend. But
Did you see the video someone took of they must have been in Hawaii? They were
Yes, I did.
actually they were showing the story on TV, and they took the camera, and then you see him talking to some random person.
I was expecting him to throw something in the video. I was like, oh, he's just standing there. Okay, so he's behaving. Yeah,
That's crazy.
I don't know what triggers these events, or whatnot, but Ezra's got to get himself in check. That's just the bottom line.
Yep. So, and I think, at least from an acting standpoint, I think we all could say we're rooting for him. Like, I definitely want to see more of what again, the pronouns, I'm sorry, guys, what they are going to do in the future of their career. So it's definitely something that I'd like to see more of, because I have liked his work that I've seen him in. So it'd be interesting going forward to see the career arc and where it eventually ends up.
I got no problem with his acting, but it's like I have no real attachment to him. Like,
Right.
Again, if he got recast at the end of the Flash, like if Warner Brothers was like, we've had enough, we're just gonna, Barry Allen looks different at the end of this movie because everything's gonna look different at the end of this movie apparently. Sure, cool, whatever. I'm all for it. If he stays, that's great. If he doesn't, it's not a big deal to me. I don't care. I mean, again, like I've lived through the Keaton, Kilmer, Clooney era, all same Batman, all look completely different. And if Spider-Man No Way Home has proved one thing, it's that you can have 3 characters with the exact same name look 3 different ways and no one cares.
Yeah, and even in his own film, even in the Dumbledore, the Fantastic Beasts series, Johnny Depp was recast.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about last week. Matt Nicholson took over for his role in Fantastic Beasts, so we've seen it there too. And whether your feelings on the film or not, it's the same character, right? It's just a character that they're playing.
Yeah.
So the actor doesn't own the role, even though we do have attachments to specific actors who play the roles. Like maybe obviously iconic roles like Nicholson with Joker, Nicholson and Ledger with Joker, at least, and even Phoenix now, if you want to throw him in the mix. So, but there's specific characters that kind of say, okay, Romero's probably the biggest one, I would think, because I still think for most people, if you say the Joker, that's who they go to. Cesar Romero's probably the first guy that comes to their head, at least from my generation.
I'll give you that.
So, but yeah, Ezra Miller, dude, just get the help you need, man. We're all rooting for you, and let's not do our episode 75. Let's not lead with Ezra Miller. That's my hope, is that our next show we do not lead with him going forward. So another big happening occurred last week for us and for fans of the movie. Of course, The Batman made its debut on HBO Max. So last Monday, Batman was finally able to be seen by everyone who didn't go to the movies to see it, which I had a couple friends actually who didn't see it in the theater.
Did they not see it because they were like, I don't know about this. I didn't like the last one. Like, or just a timing thing? Is it a COVID thing? Like, did they give you any reason?
I definitely know for some of them it was definitely still fear of the pandemic, of COVID, of going to the movie theater. A couple of my friends have young children and they don't want to risk things like that, so they won't go They won't do stuff like going to
You mean
the theater.
they're going to take children to see this movie?
No, I think they just don't want to go and be exposed to around all those people. But so yeah, and it's weird. It's on HBO Max. I told you before we came on air, I haven't watched it yet on HBO Max. I saw it 4 times in the theater, but I haven't turned it on to watch yet. I've been watching The Last Kingdom, which is a Netflix show that Garrett actually.
Oh, so you're still subscribed? You didn't pull the plug?
So, I'm not. No, I'm keeping it. But for that is a TV show and it's 5 seasons, so it's taking up a lot of my time. So I've been trying to just binge and catch up. I'm almost finished with it.
Hour-long episodes?
Yeah, the hour-long episodes.
What are you doing? You doing it one at a time or 2 at a time? How are you doing this? You binging?
I'm binging, yeah. So it's pretty much if I do everything I want to do for the day and I have time, I've just been sitting down and watching it. And it's a fantastic show. It's similar to like Game of Thrones and shows like that. If you guys don't know what it is, it's based on the Saxon stories. It's very, very good. But so I haven't had time to watch the Batman. But Pete, I know you said you've been falling asleep to it. So
I'm just so happy. It's cool. That's the only thing about like it being on HBO Max that I'm really honestly thankful for. Is because like I mean, I work the vampire prostitute shift, so I get home at 1 a.m.
Right.
So it's just like, oh, cool. I can fall asleep to the Batman, which is kind of like, actually like usually, and it's kind of becoming like a go-to sleep movie for me, which for years it was Lethal Weapon, Die Hard, and 89. Like I pop those in 40 minutes, I'm done. It's like, those are like my go-to movies. I can't sleep. I just put them on. And for some reason I guess cause I don't even really need to watch them. I can just lay in bed. I know them by heart. Like I can just recite the lines, and the dialogue to the movie. So like, it's kind of becoming that. And, it's just, that's the best part about it. Like that's the one thing I'm happy about. Like I'd love for it to not be on HBO Max so people would it would entice people to go see it in the theater and it would make more money. This way people would stop making fake graphs. But, I am enjoying it as well. So.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, obviously I will eventually watch it from home. I told you before what happens to me with films that I like. Eventually, the more I watch them, I will start noticing little things that bother me. So if I remove myself from it for a little while, I can go back to it and they're not as bothersome. So that's one of the reasons why as well.
Did you pre-order any of the Blu-rays?
I did which one was it? The one that was just, someone posted it. It's the book. It's not the steel book. It's a book. Which one was it? Was it
the one from Walmart?
It was the Walmart one. Yes.
Yeah, I bought the Walmart exclusive, and I did buy the Steelbook.
Yeah, I didn't buy. Yes, I bought the Walmart exclusive. So
the Best Buy Steelbook.
So when it comes, then that's great. But
May 24th, I believe. That's when it says it's coming to my house.
Yeah, so I just really liked. I think Steve Helm actually posted it first, and I saw it. I'm like, okay, that's the one I think I'm gonna grab. So that I'm waiting for that to come, but. There is director's commentary with the digital release and with everything that going on with HBO Max.
I believe it's an Apple exclusive, so I believe you can only get it through iTunes.
Okay. Yes, it is. You're right. Currently available as an Apple exclusive. So yes. So and Matt Reeves talks specifically about the Joker scene, the one that was kept in the film. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, we saw the deleted one that wasn't in the film, and we spoke about that a couple of episodes ago. So he talks about why he kept this specific one in, and just to really quickly to go through it, is basically to pretty much end the Riddler's arc.
Yes, closure.
Right, closure. So this is what he says. He said, "A lot of people ask me, is this a setup for another movie? And to be honest, it really isn't. This for me was tracking because Paul and the Riddler was in the action of the third act in a very particular way, and the last we'd seen him, he was saying boom in his window as the bombs went off." And we hadn't yet seen him take in the fact that Batman had been able to pull things back from the brink and that his plan had not yet played out. I really want to see the end of the arc for Riddler. So he continues by saying, by not having this scene, not only did you not get to see what I think is a fantastic performance from both actors, from Barry and from Paul, here, and when Paul starts laughing after Barry does, I find it so delightful, and it was great texture change and a tonal change from what is sort of a painful ending to the movie. But it also changed the stakes of the finale scene. When Selina says to Batman, you know this place is never going to change, and he's like, I gotta try. This idea that trouble is already brewing again. That in this moment of power, of the power vacuum, that people are already scheming. When you look this scene out, when you took the scene out, it didn't have the sort of same resonance, and the idea that he could go away with her seemed more reasonable, and you thought, well, gee, why is he staying? Yeah, I mean, when he explains it, I never really thought it was... It's weird because I in my head, I knew we're obviously going to get sequels to this film. I've always known that. But when I watched the movie, I never even put that into my mind. Like it never even said, well, they're setting up the sequel by having the Joker in it, which is crazy because that's exactly how Batman Begins ends,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you have that in your head.
Reeves is just copying Nolan. This is just a Nolan reboot, Eric.
Jesus,
don't you get it? Just listening to Matt Reeves talk makes me so thankful that Batman is in this man's hands. I mean, everything he says literally is like poetry to me. And the way he explains it just to get the closure. And this is something that we've discussed on Batman on Film Social Hours, me, Lauer, and Jet. So like, this is, it's not like, anything really new. Well, we've kind of, figured this out ourselves as well. And it's just, it's just great. Cause it's the greater Gotham City, like everything's out there. Like you could see, like there are other characters and they may be in their early stages, but like, who they are. And it's just like, man, if he thinks that like this Joker, what did he say? It was delightful. I was like, man, you are really twisted, which is great. I'm just excited. Like it's cool. Like I never really thought of it much as like, well, seeing the Riddler and the Joker together does get me excited, but I'm not like saying, oh, this is definitely like the setup for the sequel. Cause I'm like, well, he's in Arkham. He's got to get out. Like they both do. They're both locked up right now. And sure, like we all know the best thing about the Gotham Rogues Gallery is you can't keep them locked up.
That's true.
So, we'll see. I don't know. Maybe we get more of this kind of Hannibal Lecter type Joker. That would be cool. And I get why he cut out the earlier scene. We've mentioned it before. Like, he goes to Arkham to talk to the Joker, then he goes to talk to the Riddler. And it's like, okay, that's kind of repetitive.
Right.
As great as that scene was, you don't go to the well too often. So it's just, again, just so refreshing to hear this guy talk about Batman and, what he thinks of the characters and how he interprets them. And, the stuff he said about Selina and Bruce is spot on, she her idea of like getting Batman, Selina's idea of getting Batman out of this is, let's go rip off some hedge fund dealers or something. And he's like, nah, I got to stay here. My city needs help. And it's just like, he really gets Batman to the core and I appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to the next one. And I'm going to love the hell out of this one as much as I can. Cause I'm going to watch it as often as possible. It's going to be in the rotation for sure. And again, just everything he says is just wonderful. It really is. Like he just gets it. He really does. I know I don't get it because it's a Nolan reboot, but Matt Reeves gets it.
Yeah, I mean, that's, to me, when you hear him, you're right. When you hear him talk about it, you could tell how much he thought everything out with this film and how he really cares about the characters and how they're portrayed, and to make every moment in the film connect and make sure the story is interlocked. And it's sometimes in comic book movies that's hard to do. And especially with a property like Batman, where people have so many things in their head already because the character's been around forever, people automatically throw their own thoughts into this thing, right? Like, just really quickly, the whole, in another story, in another way, he talks about the Venom. Everyone thought that Batman injected himself with Venom at the end when it was really just adrenaline. And that was kind of a big thing for people. And again, that's not where I went immediately when I saw it, just because of the movie I was watching. Like it didn't even occur to me that,
Can we talk about that? I actually want to talk about that though.
No, yeah, we can. That's fine.
Like I don't think it's crazy for fans to assume that's Venom. Like, I'm sorry. Like I don't. Like, I know Bill's going to kill me on this, and Reno's been going full Reno on Facebook, but like it's a green substance that like got him jump started. And I'm not saying this is like Bane Venom, but if you look at Denny O'Neil's Batman Venom, it gives him a pick me up. Yeah. It's not crazy for me to think it's Venom. It's a cute little fan theory. If they debunk it in, I believe, the art and making of the Batman, and that's fine. But like, without context, like what are fans supposed to think? And I don't think it's if anything, it's like a harmless little Easter egg. If anything, like it doesn't have to be Venom, but a tribute to Venom or something like that, which is fine. If it's like I said, it doesn't change the movie at all because epinephrine, adrenaline, whatever it is, like it does have a purpose, and all Venom is essentially a heightened form of that. So like but again, like I don't think it's absolutely insane to think that I don't know. There's some scientists out there who made some like hardcore steroid for somebody. Like, cause in my mind, that's what I'm thinking about Venom. I'm not in the moment. I'm not thinking like, oh, dude, Bane in the sequel. I'm not thinking that at all. But I'm like, okay, he just charged his battery. He got a jump start. Could it be Venom? Yeah. Could it not be? Sure. It has no effect on the movie at all. It has no effect on me enjoying the movie. And like I'm still gonna fake think it is Venom.
I think the color is the big reason why people go there.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the key to the people thinking it's Venom because it's green.
Yeah, he didn't come out looking like Jeep Swanson.
Right. So I think that's the big reason why. But again, like even the fact that Reeves has to address this and he can address it and he's not speaking around it because he knows that people know the character and he knows that Venom is part of it is awesome, right? Like that, just having someone in control of this character right now in this universe at least, and who just knows the character, knows all about the differences and everything about his world, and that even something like that is addressed. It's fantastic to me. And I mean, my thoughts on it was if it was, it wouldn't have bothered me. Because like I said, he doesn't even have smoke pellets yet in this movie. So why would he have Venom? I guess it's just my logical progression in my head saying, well, that should be first. It doesn't have to be, but in my head, that's how I processed it. So, but if it was, and if people want to think it is, I don't care. That's fine. Again, it's part of his history. It's something that's there. It definitely would have made sense.
Out, like, right. That's what I'm thinking back to the original Venom that Denny O'Neil wrote, and that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I'm not thinking about Nightfall or anything.
Right, Bane. You're not thinking about Bane.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, and that exactly. So that's that again, it just speaks to the larger view for me, and I think you as well, that Reeves really knows what he's doing and understands the characters.
I think without a doubt, Matt Reeves is the biggest Batman fan to ever direct a Batman movie, hands down. Like it's not. I don't think it's even in room for dispute. Be honest.
Right. So keeping along with this, we're going to stick with the Batman for a little while because Pete and I named the show Straight Outta Gotham for a number of reasons. One is because
we were talking about the show Gotham.
Yes, that was one. Two, because we both live in the New York City area, which is also Gotham City, which actually was called Gotham before Batman was created, but we can explain that some other time. And we wanted to kind of have that connection since we both live here and to connect to New York City. We kind of want to have that connection when we put the name of the show. And we haven't, to this point, we've talked about obviously New York influences and stuff, but it's very weird that in recent conversations with Jeffrey Wright, he talks about the New York City Mayor Eric Adams
and the police commissioner,
right? Yes, and how they impacted his performance of being Commissioner Gordon, and it's kind of cool. Like we finally have that connection. we actually have a connection that Pete and I can talk to, and that's one of them. The other one, which Pete and I have brought up on this show before for a different reason, was Robert Moses. If you guys, most people know who Robert Moses is, but if you don't, he's pretty much responsible.
Is that really, like, I don't even know if many people in the tri-state area outside of New York City know who Robert Moses is.
He's been.
I know him because I work with a bunch of people from Long Island.
Well, he's responsible for the interstate system in the country. So I think if people should know, if you don't, you should know who he is because
it's the country. I thought it was just a city.
No. He created the whole interstate system.
Okay, I did not know he was that big.
Yes. So I-95, I-80, all these big roads we hear. If you watch the Weather Channel, they always reference it by obviously the interstate number.
Okay, Mike Trout.
So like, yeah, if you hear about all these things, Robert Moses' name comes up. He should be more well known. But Pete's right. He's mostly known for creating pretty much the infrastructure of New York City and why it is the city it is today. So in the Art of the Batman book, they mentioned that Robert, the Falcone character that obviously
Totoro.
Yeah, sorry. Obviously Totoro played is a little bit based off Robert Moses' character. So the specific quote was also, sorry, the design of the city as well, the design of the sets in the Batman also are pretty much steeped in New York. So specifically for Robert Moses, he said, the quote is, he ran something called the Triborough Commission, and basically he was responsible for masterminding all these road projects throughout the city. Legend has it that his office was beneath a toll plaza in the bridge, and so as the money flowed in from the tolls, it went right through a tube into his office. I always thought that was an amazing idea for this villain. As you know, if anyone who's seen the Batman, as you know, it's pretty much understood by the end of the film that Falcone has pretty much has control of the city, right? He's the one running things. So it was very interesting. These two different storylines that have to deal specifically with New York and the Batman. And let's be honest, even in the film, when you watch it, the Gotham Square Garden, I mean, that's obviously a play on Madison Square Garden.
Oh yeah, even the
right?
top, the roof of the building has similarities.
Yes. So, Pete, what did you think when you read these two tidbits that we got about obviously Gordon and then Falcone?
The stuff about Robert Moses really piqued my interest because Falcone is essentially the unofficial mayor of in the Batman, right? Like they state that Kinsey states that himself. And Robert Moses essentially was the ruler of New York City for a time. Nothing really got built and done without him. He was kind of in charge. So in a way, he was running the city as a weird mayor. It's interesting because we all know how corrupt Robert Moses was. We know he's not a good guy, and you could see, and we could see that in the Batman with Falcone as well. So that was fascinating. Hearing Jeffrey Wright talk about how Eric Adams has inspired him as Gordon, because Adams is just elected. He's not even a year in office. And you could, and you kind of make sense because Mayor Adams is a former police officer, and that was part of his campaign. And, obviously being a man of color, you can see, why that would, why Mr. Wright would take inspiration from Eric Adams, that as a person in the police department you could just see the obvious influences there. Like it just is like, you're like, wow, okay, cool. And it's cool that, there are it's cool for us because they're so close to home. These two references, or the three references, because they do mention the police commissioner as well. Like, and Wright says it's eventually down the line, that will be things that we will obviously explore and whatnot. And he goes, he just wants to he doesn't want to copy what like Oldman did. He doesn't want to copy J.K. Simmons, even though in a brief role, he didn't really watch a whole lot of Batman movies as much as he tried to look at real life people to inspire him. So that's why he focused on Adams and the commissioner whose name I can't remember right now. I forget what her name is.
Ki-Chan.
But, it's cool that he's pulling real life influences and references and not necessarily the movie references. And, he did say he read comics and he tried to pull from that material. So it's cool where he's pulling from for his Gordon. And his performance was brilliant. I think it's really tough to, you thought it would be tough to top Oldman, but I think Wright's right there with him after just one film.
I think, I think they're different, obviously, takes on the character. I think Wright's is a little bit more animated, whereas Oldman's was kind of more subdued, right? Like you had they're two different, but you're right. They're both fantastic. And just I do love all the infrastructure in the Batman and how everything was set up. Like we just explained about how the legend is Moses had a a room under the city where like all the money would come through, and Reeves puts Falcone above the iceberg lounge, right? So he has that kind of thing, like where he can oversee everything, and he's the one in charge, and he knows
44 below is below the ice. Like he's kind of got that too.
Right. So there's all these different influences. And if people know anything about Robert Moses, he was not a nice man. The quote is in his biography called The Power Broker. It says he's a man who built an empire and lived like an emperor. He was held in fear. His dossiers could disgorge the dark secrets of anyone who opposed him. And I think we pretty much get that from the Falcone character in the Batman.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know who killed the Waynes. We don't know who killed that reporter. Yeah, we know who killed the reporter, and we know that he liked favors.
Yeah. Right.
He wanted people to be in debt to him.
Right. And as Pete, I think the first time we mentioned Moses was because he was one of the reasons why the Dodgers left New York. So I think that when we first discussed it, that was one of the first things we brought up. So as you could see, he held a ton of power, and it's just a really cool place. It's a cool thing to connect again with our show and with the movie. How these two New York influences are in there. It's great. It's great when things come close to home. It really is. It just, and I'm sure Lauer can attest to, like, people in Chicago, right? Like the Nolan trilogy, sure, it really hits home for them because, you see the landmarks. I'm sure people in Detroit feel the same way about BVS. That movie was filmed in Detroit, parts of it. So when you see those landmarks and stuff like that and the influence of your own city in that movie, it makes you feel good. You didn't really get that in the Burton and Schumacher movies. They were kind of their, fantastical, larger than life cities. Whereas, these past three movies, they were more, I guess, realistic in a sense. Yeah, you're right. So really cool stuff, guys. At least for Pete and I feel like it's only taken 73 episodes, but we get to kind of tie all this stuff together. I think we've done a decent amount, and this is probably the first real news story that we can tie in. But I think a lot of you being the champion of the island, I think a lot of our geographical location comes out. Yeah, and I want to apologize for slipping into saying Falcone a few times. It goes interchangeable in my head sometimes. Nolan never apologized. You don't need to either. That's true. You guys knew who I was talking about. So, all right. So sticking with Batman, we had another Batman related story because yesterday, Jack Nicholson, who obviously played the Joker, turned 85. So really quick, Pete, outside of the Joker, which we both love his performance, what other Jack Nicholson performance can you recall in your head that you love? I mean, the obvious ones, Shining, Chinatown, Cuckoo's Nest. Yeah. Oh man. I actually like Wolf. I know a lot of people don't. I like Wolf. What's that movie he did? Anger Management. Not even like just classic Jack performances. The Departed. It's just as good as it gets. Jack is the opposite of Nic Cage for me. I will go see a Jack movie. That's me too. It. Like if Jack's in the movie, I will see it. And he's just, and a lot of that does come from 89. I can't lie. Growing up, 89 is such a big part of my life, and so is Jack by default. So, I will go see any movie with Jack. I will rent any movie with Jack. If there's something I haven't seen, I will check it out. It's just great. Something about that voice. Right. It's weird because when I first went to the story yesterday because I saw the story posted as well. And then Variety did his top 15, what they considered to be his top 15 performances. I thought he died. That's immediately where my head goes. Please now. Where I know. And because I know his health is not the best. He's 85 years old now. Right. But when I saw that, because immediately now that's what I think when they start having retrospectives on people, I'm like, crap, did he pass away? So it was crazy, but no, Jack is still with us. So it's it's great. And specifically a THR article did a story I believe it was from a commentary he did on playing the Joker. Mm-hmm. And he said, it's such typical him too, that he wanted to play a Joker that scared kids.
Which is funny because now you look at it and people think of it as a campy version of the Joker, which is ridiculous in my opinion.
I mean, especially the scene after he shoots, what's Jack Palance's character's name in the movie? I forget.
Grissom.
Right. So it slipped my mind from it. Yes. And then he's sitting there and they close up on his face. You see how scary he looks and he smears the blood on the newspaper.
Wait till they get a load of me.
Right. Like that's such a creepy scene. If I was a kid, that probably would scare me a little bit. So I definitely see that angle in it. But he said the main reason he did it was because he was so worried how the television series had kind of put the Joker as this funny, campy guy, and that's who people knew him as, and he just wanted to completely kind of give it differently because he wanted the whole point for him was to make this a serious film. And if that was the point of it, then that was accomplished because since that movie, comic book movies obviously have been taken a little bit more seriously. So I think if that was the point in his mind, then it's mission accomplished.
Oh, definitely. I mean, casting Nicholson was huge for the movie. I mean, as if you check out my interview with Mr. Uslan on Batman on Film YouTube, that adds legitimacy to the film. An actor of that caliber. Jack Nicholson is not a comedian. It's not going to be a comedy, right? Like, even though they caught backlash for Keaton. But adding an actor of his caliber really changed the perception. And you could tell. I mean, he gave it all. And funny story, actually, I saw Batman 89 probably 2 years ago at a drive-in theater. So, drive-in theater, no emissions, cars off. So everyone's window in like June or down. You can hear everyone talk. And I was parked next to a family, father, mother, 2 kids. And these kids were terrified of Nicholson's Joker. Like I could hear them clear as day, and I could hear the kids be like, "Daddy, he's scaring me!" Like, and I was like, when I'm reading this article about Jack wanting to terrify kids, it's like I've seen this firsthand.
Yeah,
like he was right. He did his job, and to be honest, the Joker should be terrifying. And I still think to this day, I know everyone loves Ledger. I still think Jack, for me, Jack is my favorite Joker. I think he's the best interpretation of the Joker from comic to screen of all time. It's so accurate in my opinion, from, like you said, dancing around, shooting Grissom, the flower lapel, whiff of my posy, my face on the $1 bill. Like it just, I think he embodies the Joker perfectly. And I really, as good as Ledger's performance is and as great as that take on the Joker is, when I think of the Joker, I think of Jack. Like that face is just classic. It's vintage. The comb over, the hair, everything. The suit, like he looks good. For me, the Joker, Jack's the first man I think of.
I agree, and like you said, Ledger's performance was great. It takes The Dark Knight from being a great film to an iconic film, in my opinion, just based on his performance. But you're right. If you're looking for which interpretation kind of brings all of these elements together, whether it's comic book, whether you want to even elements from the 66 show, because he is a little funny and stuff. It's completely there in this one performance.
Never rub another man's rhubarb.
Right. Like you have those crazy psychotic moments that we know the character to be. And that to me is also why I agree with you. He is, when I think of the Joker, he's the first one that comes to mind, especially in live action. So it's crazy, to think about it too, in that regard, because he's literally, it's been so long now. We've had 2 other great interpretations,
and Jared Leto,
which I particularly like, but
in Suicide Squad, not in the propaganda machine.
I particularly like it. I know not everybody does, and I get it. That's fine. And then obviously, Key Hogan's little bit that he did,
and then whatever they tried to do on Fox. Whatever that was.
And you know what, Pete? I didn't even put them in my mind.
Whatever that disgraceful thing was.
Oh, God. Yeah.
That stain on the legacy.
I know. Man.
Oh, my God.
But as you said, that stain that brought me and you together. Oh, that's funny. It's funny that a show that you just completely despise and I just don't like.
Something so horrible.
Yeah. But that's what happens,
Something that got me personally offended. If you know, you know.
I love bringing up Gotham on this show just to really bother you.
It's like what pisses you off? Gotham and Rob Manfred.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Gotham
Yeah,
and
you
Rob
pretty much
Manfred.
let a lot of other things go, but you bring up those two things and
Yeah.
we could get you going. So,
Oh God! Don't
so
get me
at the
talk
end of
about
the
that
day,
idiot.
the end of the day, let's all wish Jack Nicholson a happy 85th birthday. I think that's the moral of the story here. And thank you so much for giving us all your fantastic work that you've given in your life.
Because I know he listens to our show. He'll hear this. So Jack, smart thinking.
Well, yes, and just for the people who do love Jack like we do. That's all.
Everyone loves Jack. Who doesn't love Jack?
It's true. There's very few people in my life that I've talked to who said, "Oh, I can't stand that guy. He's a terrible actor." Or
I think my favorite
hear.
Nicholson moment isn't even from a movie. It's actually, it's from a Lakers game. It's watching Jack with binoculars, like gawking at the Laker girls. Like, dude, what are you like?
Dude, he's even
full no F's given, just sitting there courtside with binoculars. Like, Jesus, Jack.
Have you been watching Winning Time? Have you seen any of Winning Time, the show about the Lakers?
I haven't watched it, but every member of the Lakers hates it.
He's actually in it. The character, someone playing him is in it.
They did a good job with casting. Everyone looks great.
Yeah, it's
the guy who they cast as Bird is like scary good.
Yeah, and it's weird because they took a picture of him, the guy who plays him, the guy who plays Norm Nixon, the guy who plays Magic, and the guy who plays Kareem together, and they're all short. Like they're all not the actual size of all these people, but on the show they do a good job making them look their actual height. So yeah,
standing on a lot of soapboxes.
Yeah, definitely do. But if you haven't started watching it yet, you should. It's a very, very good. It's a good show, but it's definitely Hollywood. Like
I've heard Magic denounce it. I've heard Kareem denounce it, and I've heard Jerry West denounce it.
Jerry West has a very, very good reason to want to denounce it.
I think Jerry West might take legal action. I've read some articles.
He did.
He has. All right.
Yeah, he's going to. Look, I'm just going to say this because I didn't want to talk about this, but we will. They disclaim it in the show. They have artistic license. I know it's called Jerry. The character's called Jerry West, but I mean, I don't see how he's going to win something like this. That's all I'm going to say. It's kind of like a very exaggerated take on all of these characters. Like they're over the top with how just rude and kind of an asshole Kareem was. And even Larry Bird too. Like it's way over the top.
No, I believe that about Bird. I don't know if I never heard Kareem of being rude.
Well, if you watch the show, and they really make the first Paul Westhead, who was the head coach, obviously, of their Magic's first title. They even make him look like a total wimp, like 100% a wimp. And it's like I said, these takes are very exaggerated. It's based off a book that apparently their first-hand account, so these people will stand by their story and say, yes, these are how these people actually were. But it's a very exaggerated.
I mean, I don't know them, so.
I don't either. But I wanted to bring it up because they actually do have someone playing Jack Nicholson sitting on the sidelines watching the game. So that's
Magic's doing fine. He owns part of the Dodgers. I think he's doing all right.
Yeah, Magic.
He's not hurting.
Not at all. Magic's made some excellent business decisions in his life, and he's fine. He's okay. All right, so we're going to jump into now. We're going to call this the Eric stuff portion of the program.
Here we go. Flashlights and green puppets.
Yes, but first let's start off with a little bit of fun news because I don't know, Pete, I don't know if you play the Star Wars video games, but if you don't, you should because they're very, very good.
The last one I played, I believe, was Rogue Squadron, and I loved it.
Yeah, right?
That was years ago, then. Decades, probably.
The most recent one is Jedi Fallen Order, which is very, very good. Mm-hmm. You might have a little bit of bias against it, though, because the guy who plays Jerome and Jeremiah voices the main character in the video game.
I enjoyed him as Superboy in The Reign of the Supermen. So
that's true.
As long as he's not the Joker, he's fine with me.
Well, we're getting a brand new Star Wars game.
Really?
Original, not tied to anything else. Skydance New Media and Lucasfilm have teamed up, and they will be developing a brand new Star Wars game.
Do we know what it's about? Is it a first person? Is it a shooter? Is it a vehicle game? Like, what are we doing here? Do we have any information? That's just it. Just a video game.
That's it. It's just a video game.
If I get to fly some spaceships, there's a good chance I buy this. Like that's kind of like if you're going to get me to get a Star Wars game, I want to, that's what's so cool about like Rogue Squadron back in the day was I could fly as the Millennium Falcon. I can do X-Wing. I like the A-Wing because it's really fast. So if I can get my hands on a vehicle, I might check it out.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm in whatever they do. Although it's weird, I didn't love the Battlefront games that came out recently. I wasn't a huge fan of either. For the second one was better, but I didn't love it.
Is that like Call of Duty version of Star Wars?
Yes, okay. It is. You do get to be, but like you get to be Luke, so you have a lightsaber. Like you have different kinds of characters who wield their weapons in the game, but it's more of a shooter type game, which I'm not a huge fan of anyway. So I think outside of Halo, which I've only played a handful of times, I don't get Trey Jackson back at all. I know, right? Trey was a huge fan, but yeah. So we're getting another Star Wars game, and you brought up it being more of like when you have ships and stuff. It brought up it came to mind when we were in Dallas. We went to the video game museum, and I played the original Star Wars game when we were there, which
on what console? What did you play it on?
No, it was one of the arcade when we were in there.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, the original one, it was based off of A New Hope when Luke destroys the Death Star. Like that's the whole purpose of that game. So it was a lot of fun. Yeah. So again, I agree with you.
That I don't remember that.
It was you were playing one. It's weird because you were playing one of the games right near it.
I was playing Rampage and Punch Out and stuff.
Yeah. So it was right near where Rampage was, but yeah. So it just came. But that's the kind of game I like too. I either want a story-driven game where you can actually play the character, or some kind of ship experience where you're driving or flying or whatever.
I would love nothing more than to just like do like a Star Fox-esque Star Wars game. That would be fun to me. Just planes, space, stuff like that. That's what I like. Yeah,
that would be fun. So of course the most recent game that just came out is the Lego Skywalker Saga, which I haven't gotten yet. I'm going to have to ask my nephew about it.
You're going to have to invest some serious time because I'm still trying to beat Lego Batman 3. Like that game, it takes a lot of time. And don't get me wrong, I love every minute of it. It's definitely like the great escape of video games. Like just sit back and just enjoy just a couple hours of nonsense. It's just simple fun.
Oh, of course. Those games are always fun and silly.
Lego Jurassic World too. I love that game. That's another one.
All right. And they have the Star Wars game spans all 9 films, so they have 340 different characters you can be.
Wow!
So I definitely want to check it out. At least, like I said, my nephew, he's 11. He gets all the Lego games, so I'm sure I'll ask him about.
What is he, Xbox or PlayStation?
Xbox.
Good boy.
He has Xbox. Yeah. So. All right, so we have a bunch of nostalgia coming back when Obi-Wan comes out at the end of May. And one character a lot of people have asked about in the past, and Pete, this is actually, I think, from your favorite Star Wars film. Liam Neeson played Qui-Gon Jinn in The Phantom Menace.
Mm-hmm.
And so people, with all the nostalgia coming back, people were kind of asking, like, oh, would you ever come back to be on The Mandalorian or any other kind of... He's like, well, if it was a movie, he would come back. But he says he's a snob when it comes to television.
Take that, streaming service.
Yeah, so he doesn't really want to come back if it's not in a film. And we did get his voice in The Rise of Skywalker. So there was a little bit there you heard. I don't know.
Yeah, he was there. Yeah, you're good call.
Right. So I don't know what that means for the future, but what did you think when you heard him say that? I kind of laughed. I
chuckled. I was like, good for you, man. Flex your muscle. Get that paycheck. My man wants to make movies. He wants to make real money. You know? He's a movie star, not a streaming star. He's Liam Neeson. Sure, cool, whatever. I mean, that's his. Look, he's a professional actor. He takes the jobs he wants. Obviously, he's not Nic Cage. He's not going to take anything that comes his way. So. It's interesting. I'm kind of glad there are some people like that who are just like, no, it's old school. I'm a movie star,
Right.
So
yeah, cool. I agree. And I mean, his character had obviously his character gets killed. I'm not sorry if you've never seen The Phantom Menace, but
If I've seen it, I think everyone's seen it.
I don't want to spoil anything, but the movie did come out, 20-something years ago.
I still think that movie's badass. I don't know what you Star Wars
I love
nerds are
it.
complaining about.
Darth Maul is one of my favorite characters in Star Wars history, and that's where he was introduced. So
The one character that
I
needs to
love
come
the
back,
movie.
Sebulba. I want Sebulba.
Well, he didn't die, so yeah.
I know. If Disney Plus wants me to watch some Star Wars stuff, I want a Sebulba show.
That would be fantastic.
I'm just thinking about it now. Sebulba Christmas episode.
That would be so fantastic. Oh, Sebulba.
I love Sebulba.
Well, hey, he's on.
And he's only in the first 20 minutes of the movie.
No, he's in. He probably has about 20 minutes complete screen time. But no, it'd be awesome. You're right. That would be a funny character to do. Like if they ever want to do a funny kind of comedy type thing, I think he would be great.
Sebulba, he's great.
The Sebulba, yeah, the Sebulba tales. They could have put him in Boba Fett or, what's it called?
He could have been working there as a merchant, just selling Hawkins.
They could have had him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's great though. Sebulba, awesome. I love it. Very, very good call. I would watch the Sebulba show.
Yep, take that, Rick Shoe. Name dropping Sebulba on my show. I know you're not listening.
Well, now to the Eric stuff that I don't care about as much. As we know, Hayden Christensen is coming back to play Darth Vader in not only Obi-Wan but also in the Ahsoka series that's coming out. And I will say this: it was nice to read that Hayden Christensen is at least doing the work, as he is said to have watched all of the animation, all the other shows, to kind of get himself back into the character and to understand the world in which they're in now. He said it was interesting. They did a lot with these characters in these shows, and they did further explore the relationship. There was interesting stuff there to learn about. It was fun getting to go back and re-immerse yourself in this world that just continues to grow and become more and more vast. So there you have it, folks. If you guys are looking forward to this return, I just wish they would have cast someone else. But if you are looking forward to this return, there you have it. He's coming back.
Does he need to watch everything after Jedi? Isn't he dead?
Well, no. Well,
timeline-wise, I'm just curious.
Well, those shows kind of focus on the time. They focus on the time period between episode 3 and episode 4.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. So that's his height.
He's Darth Vadering at this point. He's now Darth Vader. So that's why it's important for him to watch, because that's considered canon, and there's a lot of information in there that he can look and watch to learn about the characters that can impact his quote unquote performance.
Is James Earl Jones voicing Darth Vader?
I don't know.
That's not been mentioned at all.
I haven't heard at all that he is.
Is he in good health?
Well, I've heard people say that his voice isn't as strong.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I obviously I'd love it if he was, because he's the man when it comes to the voice. Right. But they've had other guys do it for the animated shows, and
has it been any good?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay,
it's good. So it would be fine if they did get somebody else. But I do hope that James Earl Jones is part of.
I mean, could you think they can get Frank Caliendo to just do an impersonation of James Earl Jones? I haven't heard that guy's name in a while.
They'll do that for the Sebulba show. How about that? They'll get Frank Caliendo.
Sebulba versus Vader. Sebulba wins.
That would be great. Oh, I love that you put that out there into the universe. So that's in my head now.
It's there. See, people say I don't like Star Wars. I like good Star Wars. Episode 1.
Oh boy, yeah, you'd get a lot of fight with. If you were in Star Wars fandom like I am, Pete, you would totally understand when I tell you that Star Wars fandom is 20 times worse than anything you've dealt with in.
Look, I love dealing with zaddies, and they take up most of my time, so that's where I'd like to put my focus.
He's not lying, folks. I will say that. Pete is not lying when he says that.
I try to bring my Uxisian levity toward the Zaddyverse.
Yes, by loving Uxis, you do. You love.
I'm
Uxis,
trying to bridge the gap.
You are.
I am. You can love Nolan, BVS, and the Batman like I do, and live a wonderful life.
Yeah, you are the vessel.
I am the vessel. I mean,
you are.
Within arm's length, I have the Batman action figures, Darkseid on the throne, and Snyder's Batmobile, all within arm's range.
There you go.
I mean, we can love this all, right?
Yes. Pete is the yin and the yang.
I am the wing wang.
He's the amalgamation of everybody.
I am.
There you go.
And that is Uxisian euphoria.
Definitely got. We
the
gotta
utopia
get
that is apocalypse.
Right. I totally agree. That is, it's perfect. Uxisian.
I am even getting Eric to say Uxisian. Like Eric has said like Uxis like 6 times this episode. That's a record.
I think
Take
it
that,
is.
Garrett Grev.
To be
vegan.
honest. I just think it's a great word. There you go.
Yeah.
You have totally brought a word into our vernacular that we will continue to use now going forward.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
I think I'm just trying to bring everybody together.
I agree. And you're doing a fabulous job, by the way.
I'm doing the best that I can.
I must let you know. All right, so let's move on and kind of go back a little. So we're moving on to a new topic, but we're going to continue talking about Nic Cage in a way. As I mentioned, Pedro Pascal is also in The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. He plays the antagonist. I'll just put it out there. He plays the antagonist in this movie. And they were asking him about that relationship with Nic Cage, and he said that he's had it forever. He said that he got cable television in his house when he was young. He watched Valley Girl, Birdie, Racing with the Moon, Rumblefish. And then when he started going to the movies, he saw Peggy Sue Got Married and Raising Arizona, Vampire's Kiss, Moonstruck, Wild at Heart, and obviously these are all Nicolas Cage films. And then of course his most famous role is Leaving Las Vegas, which I believe he got nominated for Academy Award for.
You wouldn't say it's Con Air?
Dude, I'm just gonna say the movie.
That's a serious question.
This movie opens with Con Air. That's all I'm gonna tell you about the movie when it opens with Con Air. But no, I mean I like that movie. I do like Con Air. Malkovich is in it, so Steve
Buscemi.
Yeah, I'm a big Malkovich guy. So anytime
isn't Debo in it too?
Yes, Debo is in it. Yes, he is. So Pedro Pascal obviously has a deep affinity for Nicolas Cage. And like I said before, you can see it even though it's acting and he's supposed to be playing a guy like that. Like you could tell there's just a reverence there in the movie. And apparently Pedro Pascal channeled Nic Cage when he played Max Lord in Wonder Woman 84. If you ever saw Vampire's Kiss, Cage is kind of this crazy bonkers guy, an egomaniac. Very similar to what we've learned about Max Lord in Wonder Woman 84. And Pascal said he remembers shooting a scene in 84, and in the instant he was like, what kind of energy do I need here? And I remembered Nic Cage before I ever met him, before the thought of ever making Massive Talent existed. I remembered him jumping on a desk in Vampire's Kiss, kind of torturing Maria Conchita Alonso. And I remember that scene and his energy, and obviously not deciding to do that, but just wanting a fraction of that kind of chaotic energy to make the scene that we're shooting that day work. And it's weird because that scene from Vampire's Kiss is probably the most popular Nic Cage meme you see, where it's kind of like it's all crazy and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just really interesting to read that and to see that this project came together and how it came together. And what did you think when you read the piece?
I've never seen this Vampire's Kiss movie because, like I said earlier, I don't like Nic Cage. I did watch a couple clips on YouTube before we did the show, and I was like, "Oh wow, I can see this."
Right?
You know, you could see it when he's kind of like. I originally was like, "Oh, this is kind of Oprah. You get a wish, and you get a wish." But like after seeing these clips of Nic Cage and Vampire's Kiss, I'm like, "Oh wow, okay, like I get it. I got it, Eric. I got it. I understood it. I got the reference." And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I dig stuff like that. And even as someone who's not a fan of Nic Cage, I just appreciate actors using other actors as references. It just, it's a cool way to go about your craft and being influenced by somebody. We mentioned earlier on the show, Jeffrey Wright being influenced by Mayor Adams. That's a real world influence. And here Pascal takes sort of a Hollywood influence. So I thought it was very interesting. And I just I think it's so cool. Like, I'm not an actor. So when I hear these guys talk about their craft and how they go about their business, it really fascinates me. And I like it when they kind of let us in and explore, let us explore, what makes them tick. Not like a Jared Leto, I'm going to mail you a dead rat way, but in this cool kind of way. So I was very intrigued.
Yeah, it is cool. You're right. When you see where actors pull their influences from and where they actually get their inspiration from for certain characters that they play. And it's weird. I never thought of that when I watched it. Obviously, I didn't think of going to vampires because it's not my Nicolas Cage movie that pops into my head immediately. But when as soon as I read the title to the story, like during the week I saw it, I was like, that makes perfect sense. And I don't like the Max Lord character in Wonder Woman 84. It's probably, I think it's the weakest part of the film, but I at least I have a frame of reference now as to why he did what he did, and it makes a little bit more sense.
I'm curious as if you will watch the movie now knowing this about Pascal and Cage and the influence, and will it change your perception of the character? Just out of curiosity. The next time you watch it, just, I'd be very interested to hear that.
Maybe.
Coming from someone who actually enjoyed the movie, one of the very few people who actually thinks Wonder Woman 84 is an entertaining and good film, I'd be interested to see if it sways you at all as someone who just didn't think of it as highly as I did.
Yeah, I mean, I like the movie for the most part. It's just really his performance and that character that kind of didn't resonate with me. But for the most part, I enjoy the movie. I understand why people don't. But I mean, I grew up in the 80s. I was a kid in the 80s, so all the mall references and all that stuff, that was fun for me. I love all that. So that was great. So, guys, again, if you haven't seen The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, I think you definitely should. It's a really, really good movie.
I'm far behind, man. I still haven't seen Sonic 2. I still have to go see Morbius.
I haven't seen Sonic 2 either.
And I want to support that movie because I hear great things about it, and I want to help, video game films out, just,
right.
I know. Have you seen Morbius?
Yes, I saw Morbius.
Okay. I'll have to see it. I have to. I got to find out what this post-credit scene is about. It's been the easiest movie to dodge spoilers. No one even wants to talk about it. It's funny because, me, I didn't have issues dodging spoilers for the Batman or No Way Home, but it's been completely effortless to try to dodge spoilers for Morbius.
Again, I think, and this is just totally me, I have no insight on this. I think a couple of things with Morbius. I think the Sony thing, a lot of people have built into their head that it's not going to be good just immediately because Sony's making it. And then Jared Leto is a controversial figure. I like his work. Not everyone loves his work. So when he's cast in something, I think the people who don't like him just for not liking him won't even attempt to go see the film because it's not as bad a movie as it's being made out to be.
I've heard a few people say it's better than Carnage.
I liked it better than Carnage.
Okay, which probably means I will too then, to be honest with you. Because Carnage, I was like, eh.
It's a more, I don't know. To me, it's just a more contained story than Carnage is. Carnage is kind of all over the place at points. This is just kind of, it's more contained. It's more linear. So that's just my opinion. But yeah, I understand why people don't like that film. But I do think that going into it, it was doomed no matter what. So that's just me.
Well, me, I'm not anti-Sony.
I know.
in fact, I'm begging Sony to make a Spider-Man movie. I may be one of the few. I don't care who it is at this point. Pick one of the three of them and just make the damn film. I don't care what universe. I don't care who's involved. Just make me a true blue solo Spider-Man film.
Well, I think I wouldn't hold my breath on that happening anytime soon, but you never know.
I may go on a hunger strike. That's not happening.
Unless you can get a lot of people to do it and hashtag campaign it, that's not going to do much of a much of anything.
You're doubting my Uxisian brothers and sisters, my friend. When you are one with Uxis, you are one with the rest of us.
But you need a hashtag campaign to spread the news.
Start spreading the news.
There you go.
Uxis is on his way.
Well, I want to spread a little bit of news because, as you guys know, because Pete and I talk everything on this show, we know baseball is back. And I'm sliding into home plate this spring with my freshly shaved balls. Wait, what? You heard that right. My balls are even smoother than Trey Turner's slide after partnership with Manscaped. The global leaders in below-the-waist grooming are helping men take care of their baseballs because chicks don't only dig the long ball, but also clean balls. Join the other 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the code GOTHAM. So, Pete, have you been keeping your balls clean this baseball season?
I just trimmed up yesterday, bro. I'm ready to go. The infield is cut. And I am ready. There are going to be no slow grounders here. I'm telling you right now. The ball is going to go, and it's going to go fast.
There you go.
I mean, I gave myself a little biz last night, and I'm good to go. As everyone knows, my favorite product of all time is the toner. I love putting that stuff on my balls.
It's awesome.
It's great. I've been using the hell out of the deodorant. I love the deodorant. It's got such a great scent, such a masculine scent. I walk out of there and I walk out of the bathroom and instantly I just want like a cognac and a cigar. So
it's weird. Ever since I've got these products, like if I'm out and someone passes me and I smell that smell, I'm like, they're wearing Manscaped.
I don't go around smelling people. That's not really my thing.
I don't personally smell them, but if they walk by,
sniff,
you get like a wafting as you walk by, and you're like,
you waft, huh? You're a wafter. Interesting. Maybe it's all the years of taking the subway and the homeless people around that I don't go around wafting the scents of those around me. But
I don't. Oh God. Anyway, I knew I shouldn't have said that. Anyway,
do you go around smelling people's balls? I'm asking you. You said you go around, they smell like Manscaped. Do you smell ball toner on people?
Well, Pete, they have. I was going to this is actually a good segue because I wanted to ask you.
Because the lip balm can come in very handy. I'm a big fan of the Manscaped lip balm.
Right, but they got the lip balm and in the new products that they sent you, you also got the body wash and the shampoo. So
same great scent. I love it.
That's what I mean. So if someone uses those, and they even have a body spray. So if someone walks by, you're going to get that scent.
So you went like the gym just showering with people and you're just smelling them?
No, it's just
Eric,
random.
You put yourself in a lot of awkward situations.
It's random. It's just a random people thing.
You're in the shower
walking the streets.
You shower with random people.
Well, if you go to a gym, you usually do shower with random people.
There you go. See, you go. Admitting it is your first step.
I get that. All right, guys. So to start it off, the Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer is getting hyped as the Mike Trout of trimmers. And after using it, my confidence level is sky high. In and out quickly to get the job done in just a few minutes. Something that Rob Manfred can't say about anything. That is great. I love that.
I love Manscaped.
I said I showed you yesterday because April is the beginning of the baseball season and it's Testicular Cancer Awareness Month. They have a purple lawnmower.
I thought that was great. I really was. I thought it was cool. It's got this. It almost looks like it's got some neon around it. So
yeah. So yeah, guys. So now
I wish that was the one I had.
I know.
I'm not going to complain. I love my 4.0. It's great. It keeps me tip top shape.
I agree. So guys, as I mentioned, April is Testicular Cancer Awareness Month, and Manscaped is committed to raising awareness for the most common form of cancer in men 15 to 35 and giving support for fighters, survivors, and families impacted by testicular cancer as part of their We Shave Balls initiative. And in connection with that, as I said, they actually have the Lawnmower 4.0 now with the purple coloring, because that's the color for Testicular Cancer Awareness Month. And it actually, I believe it even says We Save Balls on the bottom of it, if I saw the picture correctly. I don't know. I have to double check on that. So I actually have a funny story, though, that talking about Manscaped. I went the other day to get pizza. And
you smelled someone.
No, that's not the funny story. I was wearing my T-shirt.
Okay.
And I come outside, and there was this group of girls out there or whatever, and they see my shirt, and the girl just starts hysterically laughing, and I'm like, what the hell? And she goes, oh my God, that guy's shirt says your balls will thank you. And she just started, all the girls started laughing, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, I never thought this would bring me that kind of attention.
Did you get a phone number?
But no, they were young. They were younger girls. But
okay. I thought you were in MILF City.
It was just funny to actually have that kind of a story, because since I've been wearing the shirt, that hasn't happened. But anyway, So remember, guys, trim your bat and balls with Manscaped to get into the MVP discussion this season. Of course, that's the most valuable player. With the code Gotham for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code Gotham at manscaped.com. And yeah, if you guys are using Manscaped and you want to tell us how it is and how it's working
what products you buy, what you're using it for. Obviously, we know where you're using it, but
right.
Anybody who makes fun of Rob Manfred, it's good in my book.
Exactly. We got him in a couple times in this show. All right, so something that's also, I guess you'd probably say, is Eric's stuff, but not as much as the others is. Of course, when we heard this movie was in development, I was super excited because I'm a huge fan of the IP. Of course, I'm talking about Voltron. We had reported a couple months that Red Notice filmmaker Rawson Marshall Thurber was hired to direct, and now it actually has a home. Amazon will be the service that is going to produce and provide the Voltron live action movie. So, Pete, I know you didn't grow up on Voltron like I did. So what do you think if Amazon has a home, and will you watch
I'm really
it?
excited about this because I don't really know too much about Voltron, but it's something I want to dive into. You know, it's like it's just really cool. I like the Lions aspect. Like I like mechs. So like, you know, Pacific Rim, Power Rangers, stuff like that stuff's really cool to me. I'm dying to see what this looks like. I hope I hope Voltron looks a lot better than the Megazord did in the Power Rangers reboot. To be honest with you, I did not like the way those Zords and Megazord look. So that was the only negative I had about that movie. But yeah, I'm really excited. I can't wait to see what the Lions look like and what Voltron actually looks like and where they go with this story, because Voltron's something that like really always wanted to get into, but just never had the access or had the ability to. It was just never really around during my childhood to get into it. And it's probably the 180s thing that I wasn't into, that I I could care less about He-Man, but like Voltron is something I'm like, please, like do something so I get interested in. Like, I'm begging you guys, do something so I can invest some time into this. So I would not mind collecting some Voltron figures and stuff like that either.
Yeah, it is a little past your time. A little before your time. When you would be interested in something like this, because it was more of a mid to late 80s type thing, and you were
born in 86.
Right, you were a little boy, not even a little boy, you were a toddler.
Yeah.
It was not something you'd be interested. They have had other things come out of it, I think I mentioned when we first talked about the story, they still have a show called Legendary Defender, which is on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's 8 seasons worth of new Voltron animated stories.
Okay.
Kind of shot in the anime style that it actually comes from. So they do make a few changes to some of the characters on that show. I didn't love it. It's not terrible. It's not great. It's just kind of there. But I have been dying for a live action Voltron movie since the first Transformers movie was announced. The Michael Bay Transformers movie. I said, oh, good. Mm-hmm. Now maybe I'll get Voltron. And that, I think, came out in 2007, and it's 2022. So, so the fact that we're finally getting one, I've always been excited. I'm just finally happy now that it actually has a home, because that means, and I'm happy that it's Amazon. Let's be honest, we know they have the money. So,
Amazon's been doing good stuff. To be honest with you, they've been doing some pretty good stuff.
I haven't watched Red Notice yet, which is the Netflix film that Rawson Marshall Thurber directed. That's with Ryan Reynolds and Gal Gadot and The Rock. But I've heard such great things about it. I still want to watch it. And apparently it is the highest, I think the most expensive or the best rated Netflix original movie of all time.
It's not Army of the Dead?
No, sadly, or maybe not sadly. It is not Army of the Dead. But so if all the Voltron fans out there like me, we have a home for our movie. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens going forward.
Yeah, I can't wait.
All right, sticking with Amazon, in the Amazon world, I know this was a kind of a sleeper hit for me, but I love the show, and I can't wait for the season 2 to actually come out. But Invincible season 2 has started voice recording. Steven Yeun, who is the main character on the show, Mark Grayson, he posted a picture on his Instagram or maybe primed it itself of him hitting the recording booth to start recording his lines for the show. So there was a little bit of a last month they started talking to the creator and director of the show, and he said that because people were kind of wondering what's going on, and he says we're working hard on it. The one thing I tell people is we've been working hard on it for a longer period than they think. A lot of people assume we've just got started on it, and that's not true. We've been working on it for a while now, but it's a big show. To do it properly, it takes time. We're still in the pandemic. We're hopefully coming out of that, but that makes things a little slower too. Everyone is working very hard on it. I think you're going to be very happy with it. I hope so. We want to make it as badly as everyone wants to see it. We're deep in. I wish it was already done. I wish it was finished, but it's just not. That sounds kind of like a jumbled answer because it was even hard for me to read. But hey, they're back in the studio. They're recording. What did you think of Invincible?
Man, did that show really just catch me by surprise?
Right?
I loved it. The cast was amazing. J.K. Simmons. What Stephen? How do you pronounce his last name?
Yun.
Stephen Yeun. Oh man, like loved him in Walking Dead. So
Yep.
when I found out it was him, I was like, wow, this is great. And I've been trying to track down Invincible comics, but they're kind of hard to find. And it's just a really interesting show about a young superhero and seeing the turn on his father and stuff like that. It was fascinating stuff. It really caught me off by surprise the first episode when they basically kind of did a Transformer style and killed everybody off.
Yeah.
Not knowing the source material. I don't know if that's actually what happened in the books, but can't wait for it. Really excited. Probably like one of the best superhero animated shows ever made, easily. Such a great cast. I mean, just really like it's tough to even like. It's unlike anything animated I think I've ever really felt. Like it was emotional and like you could be relatable and just. I was like, wow, like you guys really just aced this. So really pleased with season 1. Excited for season 2. I'm glad they're taking their time to do it right. I always enjoy stuff like that. I'm not someone who gets upset about release dates or anything like that. As long as things aren't canceled, nothing bothers me. I take your time, do things the right way, and I'll be there to sit there and watch.
Yeah, I mean, I remember watching this just on a whim because it's a Kirkman comic book, and obviously
Same.
as we know, Kirkman did The Walking Dead as well. So I saw that and I'm like, oh, let me give it a shot. And yeah, I was blown away. I'd never read any of the source material, so this was all new to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm with you. Like, it was fantastic. It blends so many things together well. It's serious, it's funny, it's got the superhero element. It's just such a very well put together show. Like you said, the voice cast is fantastic. Sandra Oh is his mother. J.K. Simmons is his father.
Great.
Zazie Beetz is in. Jillian Jacobs, Zachary Quinto, Walton Goggins, Seth Rogen, Mahershala Ali. I mean, all of these big name people who we know from live action stuff are voicing this show. Which should have been my first sign that, hey, this is probably a pretty good thing that I'm going to enjoy. But yeah, it's been fantastic, and I'm so happy that it's coming. I've kind of been waiting for it. This is one of the things I've kept watching. Like, when are we doing? When is it coming? When is it going to start producing? And I was so great to read and get this news that it actually is recorded. The voice recording has begun. So there you go, folks. All Invincible fans, it is coming. And we also know that it was renewed for 2 seasons. It was season 2 and 3. So
even better.
Right. So we know we're getting 2 more seasons of this
Bring it
show.
on.
Yes. So our final story today is we're going to hop back into the video game world. And Pete, you mentioned Call of Duty before. And I think that is the one shooter game that most people I know love. Outside of Halo, like I said before. But this is Call of Duty, of course, spans all consoles. So you can play it on anyone. Halo is restricted only to Xbox. And Call of Duty Operation Monarch will apparently pit Godzilla against King Kong.
Yes. Yes. Just yes. Oh my God. Yes. I can't wait.
Like,
I don't care. Just give it to me. I don't care if they're fighting in the background as I'm like exploring a map and trying to avoid getting shot by a sniper. I don't care what the premise is. Just give it to me. I'm so excited for this. So excited. I cannot wait for this. This is like my most highly anticipated video game in so long. I haven't even bought the last Call of Duty yet. Mm-hmm. I'm going to pre-order this as soon as this is out there. I cannot wait to get my hands on this.
Yeah, I'm even interested. Like I said, I don't play shooters, but this adding them to it, I'm kind of like, okay, I'm a little interested now. I might want to see it. It does say that Godzilla at least will impact gameplay, so you're gonna get him.
Like, he probably will step on you. I don't care. Just bring it along. Like, can you imagine getting like the Godzilla? You're on top of a building. You're ready to shoot your guy. You got your sniper rifle out. Then Godzilla just lays on his atomic breath and blows up your building. Like, that's just yes, give it to me. I can't wait. This is the greatest idea in the history of video games.
I would love it. I mean, they probably won't do this, but I wonder if they would have like a kind of like a Siege of New York thing where King Kong could be climbing up the Empire State Building or something like that.
That would be fun.
Because it's such an iconic story for King Kong. It'd be cool if they had something like that involved. But yeah, I mean, anytime you add these weird elements to a game like this, I think it always adds a little bit more fun to it. And obviously, Godzilla and King Kong are two of the most famous monsters, or kaiju, whatever you want to call them, that we've ever gotten. So this is going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. And again, I'm not a shooter fan, but this might make me buy it. This might be something that makes me buy this game.
I'm totally going to invest in this. This is so exciting, if you ask me.
Yeah, this should be a lot of fun. Call of Duty Operation Monarch. When does we have a release date on this? May 11th.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Does the article say it was DLC or is it a game? It's got to be DLC. I might have to buy the new game just to get it, which is fine. Like, I don't care. Like, whatever I have to do to get my hands on this will be done. Like, that's it.
Yeah, it just says, following rumors and leaks that Godzilla will be appearing in Call of Duty, Activision has released a brand new trailer featuring not just the King of Monsters, but King Kong as well. The new event, which is slated for Call of Duty Vanguard and Warzone, will be kicking off May 11th.
Okay, so it's an event. So I got to buy Vanguard. I'll go to Target right now and buy it. I don't care.
So there you go. So yeah, this should be awesome. This should be really cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell my nephew to download it and I'll go play. I'll go play.
You're just gonna you'll rent it.
I'll tell him. I'll
rent
tell
it
my
from
sister.
His house.
I'll just tell my sister that I'll pay for it if she doesn't want it, and then he could keep it because I won't play it enough to buy it myself. But he definitely will. My nephew loves video games, as most kids that age do. So. All right, now it's time. It's the sad part of the story because the story's over for this week.
Well, it's not that sad. I'm going to go get lunch. I'm actually kind of excited. We've been here for like an hour and a half. I'm like, he's still going? I'm starving.
I'm a little hungry too, to be honest.
What are you getting? What are you thinking?
I don't know.
Feels like a good pizza day.
Well,
for me at least.
There's a pizza place not far from me. It's called Phil's too, where they have these kind of weird kind of pies. Like they have a fried calamari pie and
yes,
grilled cheese and tomato soup and all these weird kinds of pizza, all these weird kinds of toppings on pizza. So I'm going to probably maybe go delicious. There because it sounds like a very, very, very good spot. But you just put that in my head. So it is weird that like you yesterday, you tweeted the picture from Carton and Roberts where they ordered the pizza.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't even thinking about pizza at that point. You posted, I'm like, now I want pizza. Like that's the one food.
And that's good pizza. That's Prince Street pizza.
Yeah,
that's
Prince
Street. Some of the best pizza in the city.
I know. All right. Rick Shue wouldn't like it, but it's okay.
I might be in the mood for a chicken cutlet sandwich. I might
see you guys.
I might go to Joe's, get a chicken cutlet.
We're letting them behind the curtain again to food. So.
That's fine. I'm sure
right, Pete,
we're going to eat good now. You can
let them know where to find you.
If you're interested in me and all my Uxisian exploits, yes. Little tongue twister today. I can't talk. I've been putting on my ball toner. You can follow me on social media. That's Twitter, Instagram, and Zack Snyder's favorite platform, Vero at Pete Illustrated. You can follow podcast number 1, the podcast you're listening to right now. That's Straight Outta Gotham at straight_O_G on both Instagram and Twitter. Join our Facebook group. Follow our Facebook fan page. A lot of great discourse there. Everything you see on Twitter appears in there. We like to create a news aggregator service. We want to keep you updated with everything we talk about and what we don't talk about. So the best way for you to do that is to follow those handles. Follow podcast number 2, the Italian Spider-Man Coalition podcast. That is a side show that I do with the wonderful combination of Nicholas and Nico Caruso, the father and son combination we all love on Twitter, at Italians for Spidey. Follow at Team Yellow Oval. We're excited about that. The Oval's back in print. It's back in the movies. It's going to be streaming. It's everywhere. It's Oval takeover time. Follow me on Batman on Film. I've got reviews of TV shows, comic books, toys. I've got interviews with Tara Strong on YouTube. I've got interviews with Michael Houston on YouTube. Anything you could possibly want in this space, I try to cover. And I've got hopefully some exciting news dropping in 19 business days. So, something very exciting to announce, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Rub some jelly on my belly. I don't know what that means. It just rhymes.
What
so I said
the hell?
I don't know. It just rhymed, so I said it. It sounded good in my head.
That might be worse than asking me if I sniff people walking by.
It sounded funny to me. Rub some jelly on my belly.
Oh boy.
Ooksis! Eric, take it away.
I don't know how to follow that up. That's great. Oh. Well, if you want my more Galactusian.
Oh, he said a Galactus! Ooksis Galactus, Ooksis Galactus.
My more Galactusian takes on things as opposed to Pete's. How do we say that again?
Ooksisian,
yes. Ooksisian takes. You can find me on Twitter at Finally33, spell finale 33. Also the same handle on Instagram as well. Guys, Pete is still laughing, and I'm not going to be able to get through this. As Pete mentioned, hit us up on Facebook at both our Facebook group and our Facebook page. The group is actually growing. I love seeing when we get new members in there. We've had a couple new ones in the past couple of weeks, so it's been a lot of fun.
Welcome.
Yes, and that's also where you'll find some of my more interesting takes or comments. A lot of times I just throw them in there to gauge a response from people. And so you'll find my stuff in there. As Pete mentioned as well with his stuff on Batman on Film, if you guys want to look at all the content I've given to the site over the years, you can go search for my name, Eric Holzman, on the BOF site. I have interviews from Batwoman with Rachel Scarsden and Megan Tandy. Right. Rebecca Romaine and Jerry O'Connell from Reign of the Superman premiere that Pete and I went to. I have my reviews of Titans as well. So go over there and check all those out. And again, come at me with your thoughts and comments, because that's exactly what it's there for. Pete is still hysterically laughing. But he is not rubbing jelly on his belly. At least from what I can tell. That I'm so not happy sorry. Yet. But you're all gonna have these visions now. I know. I apologize in advance for letting him put them out in the universe. I don't know why I said that. Oh, all right. So from Ooxis and Galactus and Pete, I'm Eric Holzman. You are listening to Straight Outta Gotham, and we will see you next time.
Booyah!